Imagine awakening a class considered one of the most useless in the entire world precisely on the day everyone expected you to become a genius. That is exactly what happened to Fang Zhou. When he awakens as a necromancer, everyone around him believes his future is practically doomed. After all, this class has a terrible weakness. Its users need to understand the world of the dead to truly reach their potential. But Fang Zhou has a secret. The moment he awakens his class, he finally receives the power he has waited 18 years for, a system capable of directly connecting him to the world of the dead. And the more creatures he defeats and devours, the stronger he becomes. But there is one detail that no one could have imagined. Fang Zhou does not intend to merely become a great necromancer. He intends to turn the entire world of the dead into his hunting ground. And what happens when he finally begins to unleash his true power will leave the entire school in shock. Before we begin, leave a like to strengthen our friendship. Decades ago, the world underwent a strange transformation. Evil ghosts invaded Earth, and humanity entered the mythical era. Monsters took over the cities, and to survive, people had to awaken classes and master abilities, advancing in rank to become increasingly stronger. Awakened warriors began fighting these ghosts and monsters on the planet Blue Star, securing space for humanity to live. Without a doubt, this is the era of class wielders. In the Xia Dragon Federation at Heicheng High School, the awakening ceremony begins. Combat instructor Lu Hu declares to the students that this day is directly connected to each of their destinies and wishes that everyone awakens the class they have always dreamed of. After waiting so many years, Fang Zhou's day to awaken his class has finally arrived. Lu Hu calls him forward and Fang Zhou promptly answers the call. As he walks toward the center of the awakening circle, two girls comment on his appearance and bet that he will awaken as a priest, saying it would be a shame for such a handsome face not to have that class. A boy nearby argues that being handsome alone is useless, because awakened individuals still depend on the class they receive, and his friends agree, teasing that the girls are simply jealous. Lu Hu looks at Fang Zhou's file, the orphan son of a martyr, excellent physical conditioning, and outstanding grades in academic subjects. He then understands why so many people are paying attention to the boy. Fang Zhou extends his hand over the altar, and an intense golden glow bursts from the magic circle, illuminating the entire ceremony. The energy explosion is so powerful that it attracts the attention of the entire school, and the crowd begins shouting in amazement at the absurd reaction. Some cannot believe what they are seeing and wonder if this is even possible before knowing which class he awakened, while one girl praises Fang Zhou as if he were already a god among men. Suddenly, the golden energy transforms, and a dark green force takes over the field, shaking everything around it with cutting gusts of wind. Lu Hu, amazed, realizes that the boy is managing to create a true vision of heaven and earth, and excitedly wonders what incredible class he has awakened. From the green vortex emerge shadowy figures, skeletal knights, hooded mages, and monstrous creatures from the world of the dead, all surrounding Fang Zhou. He raises his fist in the middle of the green storm, and the system announces the result: awakening successful, class necromancer. Fang Zhou repeats the word in surprise, questioning whether that is really his class. The scene returns to the field, and the mocking laughter of three classmates cuts through the silence. They mock Fang Zhou, saying that after all that commotion, he ended up awakening as a necromancer, claiming that although it is a rare class, it is at the bottom of all combat classes. The three laugh together while a girl watches the scene suspiciously, and one of them continues to mock that the strength of a class really has nothing to do with school grades. Fang Zhou thinks to himself that necromancer seems powerful, but hides a fatal flaw. The class requires a sufficiently close connection to the world of the dead. A skeletal hand reaches out amid purple flames, and the voice continues, saying that life and death are natural opposites, so how could a living human possibly understand the world of the dead? Fang Zhou, however, raises his hand and declares that he is different. His status screen appears, name Fang Zhou, class necromancer, rank low-level apprentice with attributes of strength 1, constitution 1, agility 1, and spirit 2. A fist crashes through the screen with a loud boom, and the system appears before him, congratulating the host for awakening the Dead World Experience system. Fang Zhou stares at the green light in his hand and whispers that the cheat code he has waited 18 years for has finally arrived. The system confirms that he has unlocked the system, automatically connecting him to the world of the dead and generating an avatar for him in that world. Through this skeletal avatar, Fang Zhou will be able to explore the world of the dead, devour other undead creatures, and level up to become stronger. The system also reveals that he can summon the skeletal avatar into the real world, but warns that this experience carries unknown risks, and that the host should proceed with caution. Fang Zhou observes the vortex in front of him and comments that this is the real experience of the world of the dead, saying that the system seems to have been tailor-made for a necromancer. A smile forms on his face as he activates the summoning. The summoning circle opens with an intense glow, and Fang Zhou confirms that this creature is his avatar in the world of the dead. The system explains that before permanently summoning it, he can briefly possess the avatar and experience the world of the dead himself. The system further reveals that the skeletal avatar can devour other undead creatures to increase its own base attributes, and that the creatures defeated by it can also be summoned by the host to fight in the real world. Fang Zhou immediately understands the logic behind this and concludes that if he kills enough creatures, he will have a practically infinite supply of summons. Excited, he declares that the entire world of the dead will be his hunting ground. But for now, he decides to save the experience of exploring the world of the dead for another occasion and orders the system to summon the avatar immediately into the real world. The system confirms the request and begins summoning the skeletal avatar. A green magic circle opens in the air, glowing with ancient symbols, and the skeleton fully emerges in front of Fang Zhou. He states that this avatar can also be summoned directly by him into reality, making it his strongest summon. Meanwhile, at the ceremony, the instructor calls the next student by Xiaochen to begin her awakening. Two girls approach Fang Zhou and try to cheer him up, saying that he should not be discouraged, because even as a necromancer he can still earn a legendary title. One of them notices the skeleton beside him and comments curiously that it looks really cool. Not far away, three boys watch the scene angrily. One complains that even after awakening a class considered trash, Fang Zhou is still surrounded by girls and asks if he thinks he can do whatever he wants just because he is handsome. Another adds that he cannot understand how a simple skeleton could be stronger than his assassin class. A third boy recalls hearing that beginner necromancers can only summon a few skeletons per year, and thinks to himself that if he destroys that skeleton now, he can greatly delay Fang Zhou's growth. Determined, he launches a quick attack at the creature, attempting to destroy it by surprise. The skeleton suddenly disappears. The boy's eyes widen in confusion and he shouts in disbelief, asking how the attack simply disappeared. The skeleton appears in the blink of an eye directly behind him. With a brutal strike from its pointed arm, the creature hits the bully squarely in the face. The impact is so powerful that blood sprays through the air and the boy's body is sent flying, spinning uncontrollably as his classmates watch in shock. He crashes hard onto the grass, screaming and unable to believe what just happened. Still on the ground, he struggles to crawl, trying to stand, his face covered in blood and sweat. Furious, he turns toward Fang Zhou and shouts, demanding to know what he thinks he is doing. Inside, the boy angrily wonders how that skeleton can be so powerful that it was able to detect and counter a surprise attack coming from a blind spot. But he quickly convinces himself that no matter how strong the summon is, Fang Zhou is still just a skeleton mage, and his physical body should not be a match for his. Determined to prove it, he charges straight at Fang Zhou with a blade of purple energy glowing in his hand, shouting that he is going to die. Fang Zhou, completely unfazed, raises his hand and effortlessly catches the attacker's fist in midair. The boy screams in surprise, unable to understand how he was blocked so quickly. Fang Zhou calmly looks at him and says that he is overestimating himself. Then he delivers a punch charged with crackling green energy directly into the attacker. The blow is so powerful that it sends him flying through the air, spinning amid an explosion of blood before he crashes hard onto the grass in front of his terrified classmates. Lying on the ground, he can barely manage a groan, completely defeated. Fang Zhou simply turns away, saying that this was boring. An instructor arrives at the scene, asking what happened and why there was so much commotion. A female student explains that Lu Renjia tried to attack Fang Zhou from behind, but was instantly defeated. Another classmate adds that he was knocked out with a single punch. Someone asks, intrigued, how this is possible, since they said necromancers have physically weak bodies. So how did Lu Renjia lose to Fang Zhou like that? Two classmates rush over to help the injured boy, whispering Fang Zhou's name, still shocked by what they have just witnessed. Injured Lu Renjia screams, swearing revenge and warning that Fang Zhou will regret this. The scene shifts to the school quarters later on, with Fang Zhou walking alone, the skeleton silently following behind him. He stops in an isolated corner and murmurs that no one should bother him there, calling for the system to appear. The system appears before him as a glowing green sphere and announces that it is time to experience the world of the dead, asking whether the host wishes to begin the experience. Fang Zhou reflects that this experience will help him better understand the world of the dead, practically serving as a mandatory course for any necromancer. He thinks that with luck, he might even devour other undead creatures, since nothing strengthens a necromancer faster than that. Still, he wonders whether everything will really go as smoothly as he hopes. He acknowledges with concern that undead creatures are extremely dangerous, and that it is difficult to know who will devour whom in that world. Risks and rewards go hand in hand, he thinks, but even so, he decides to move forward and orders the system to begin the experience of the world of the dead. The system responds that the request has been recognized and asks him to wait a moment. While waiting, Fang Zhou thinks to himself that he has waited 18 years for this system, and that he cannot waste such a great opportunity to become stronger. Shortly afterward, the system informs him that the preparations are complete, but warns that the experience in the world of the dead carries unknown risks, asking whether he truly wishes to proceed. Without hesitation, Fang Zhou confirms. A green energy surrounds him completely, and he feels that something is about to happen. The very next moment, the landscape changes completely. A blood-red sky stretches over a desolate cemetery, with dead trees, scattered bones, and a solitary tombstone beneath a gigantic blade embedded in the horizon. Dark, jagged mountains surround a gloomy valley. illuminated only by points of red light floating in the air, he has finally entered the world of the dead. Assuming the form of a skeleton, he observes his own body and realizes that it is exactly the same as the creature he summoned earlier, confirming that this really is the experience of the world of the dead. A status window appears before him. Skeleton avatar, low-level apprentice rank with Strength 1, Constitution 1, Agility 1, and Spirit 1, no equipment and the bone armament skill and apprentice-level racial instinct of skeletons, capable of using bones to strengthen itself and forge equipment with soul power at 0. Surprised, he wonders if that is truly an innate skill called bone armament. He concludes that this must be the skill the avatar just used. The avatar crouches among the rocks and thinks that in order to stay safe, he needs to forge a weapon before encountering any enemies. At that moment, a threatening growl echoes nearby. Two enormous wolf-like beasts with red eyes emerge from the shadows, growling with their fangs exposed as they corner the skeletal avatar. He easily retreats, dodging the attack. Caught off guard, the skeleton exclaims that he is already being attacked and nervously comments that the world of the dead really is as dangerous as he imagined. Suddenly, skeletal hands grab Fang Zhou's leg. The wolf lunges at him, and he thinks that he's in trouble now. He then says that he's going to pull off a combo, spinning around and landing a double kick on both of the beasts' heads, joking that it's like buying one and getting another for free. But the attack barely scratches the monster, and the skeleton realizes in frustration that the kick had no effect whatsoever. The battle continues fiercely, with the wolf repeatedly lunging forward while the skeleton tries to dodge and counterattack. He realizes that this body is harder to control than he expected and admits that he won't be able to win like this. Running across the terrain, he spots a pile of scattered bones nearby and widens his eyes in surprise at the discovery. As the wolves charge in for the final attack, he shouts for them to come at him. The skill activates bone armament assembly and the bones rapidly transform into a sharp scythe in his hands. With a precise strike, he shouts that the beast is going to die, driving the bone blade deep into the wolf. The creature lets out an agonizing growl as the attack strikes it head-on, but the beast manages to bite him with its other head. Back in the real world, in the school hallway, Fang Zhou recoils in sudden pain, blood running down his hand. Back in the world of the dead, he realizes in shock that the injuries suffered in the world of the dead really do manifest on his real body, and concludes that this system is far more dangerous than he imagined. The skeleton looks at the defeated wolf's head and thinks that since that head is already dead anyway, he might as well make use of it. His eyes glow more intensely as he grabs the beast's head and tears it away from the main body, declaring that he will make its death serve him. The bone blade comes down with full force on the wolf, eliminating it instantly. Breathing heavily, the skeleton observes the result of the battle before him, with the wolf's lifeless body lying on the ground. Satisfied, he recognizes that bone armament is even more useful than he imagined, and concludes that this only proves how powerful a system skill can be. Suddenly, a blue flame begins rising from the beast's corpse, catching his attention. Curious, he reaches his hand toward the flame, surprised by the strange phenomenon. As he approaches, he suddenly feels an inexplicable hunger taking over him. A voice echoes in his mind, ordering him to devour it, consume it, become stronger, and evolve. Unable to resist the impulse, he opens his mouth and completely absorbs the blue flame. A bright blue light envelops his hand, and the system announces that his attributes have increased. His status updates: Strength 1-1, Constitution 1, Agility 1, Spirit 1. He notices that his strength increased by 0-1 and concludes that this must be the effect of bone armament. Soon afterward, another notification appears: Soul power increased by 0-1. Intrigued, he wonders what exactly soul power is used for. The system explains that soul power converted from soul energy can be used to deduce new skills, increase the user's potential, enhance equipment, and perform other functions. He then understands what this really means. Explore, kill, devour, evolve. This is the cycle he will follow from now on. He concludes that as long as he keeps hunting, he can grow infinitely. Suddenly, he notices the sound of approaching footsteps and turns his head, alert. Another creature appears before him, a hooded skeleton wielding two curved blades. The system identifies the creature as a skeleton, a disposable summon belonging to another necromancer, an apprentice-level undead creature with a fragile body and no independent intelligence, whose weakness is concentrated in its soul. Fang Zhou's skeleton avatar reacts to the rival's attack with an intense glow, activating bone armament, and the system confirms that the host has successfully forged the bone spear equipment. Determined not to waste that advantage, he advances upon the defeated skeleton and absorbs everything remaining of the creature. His agility increases by 0-1 along with his soul power. Soon afterward, another increase arrives, this time in Constitution, accompanied by more soul power, every victory directly transforming into strength. He watches the glowing bone fragments surrounding him and feels that all of this is becoming his own strength. But even after gaining so much, he mutters that it still isn't enough. Status updates once again: Strength 3, Agility 2, Constitution 2, Spirit 2, Soul Power 10. Confidently, he declares that he can still become much stronger. Back in the real world, the scene shows Heicheng High School beneath a clear sky. Fang Zhou walks down the hallway beside Bai Xiaochen, still quietly repeating to himself, somewhat lost in thought, that he can become stronger. The girl calls out to him, trying to bring him back to reality, and he snaps out of his trance, startled. Noticing her presence, he asks what Bai Xiaochen is doing there. She notices the blood on his hand and looks at him worriedly, calling his name in an alarmed tone. She scolds him, saying that even if the class he awakened wasn't ideal, he cannot take out his frustration by hurting himself. Fang Zhou is confused, not understanding the accusation. He realizes that she misunderstood everything, thinking that he had intentionally hurt himself. To himself, he thinks that next time he enters the world of the dead, he needs to choose a more discreet place to do it. Trying to hide the truth, he says that he's fine and that it was just an accidental scratch. She suspiciously asks if that's really true. The two stand face to face for a moment, with the atmosphere between them becoming strangely tense. He then remembers that meditation class is about to begin and suggests that they hurry back. She agrees. But halfway there, Fang Zhou feels a sudden pang of pain and cannot hide it. Bai Xiaochen immediately grabs him, alarmed, saying that he is clearly not well and that she will take him to the infirmary. He insists that he's fine while thinking to himself that entering the world of the dead also takes a toll on his physical body. A system notification appears, warning him that he has spent too much time in the world of the dead that day and needs to pay more attention to his physical condition. Suddenly, something catches his attention and his eyes widen. The system reveals that his own attributes, those of his real body, have also increased. Strength 1-2, Constitution 1-1, Agility 1-1, Spirit 1-1. Among his skills, Skeleton Summoning appears along with an option for deductible skills. Bai Xiaochen, still worried, asks if he is really okay. Fang Zhou notices another important detail. There's also a deductible skill available for him to develop. Surprised, he wonders if, just like higher-level awakened individuals, he is also capable of creating his own skills. The scene shifts to the main building of Heicheng High School at a different class period. Inside the meditation room, a red-haired woman appears at the front of the class and introduces herself as Shen Hongyu, the teacher responsible for the subject. She explains that this is the basic meditation technique corresponding to each student's class and asks everyone to visualize the abilities of their own class during meditation. Shen Hongyu continues, explaining that meditation strengthens spirit, the attribute that serves as the foundation for using class skills. She reassures the class, saying that they do not need to rush, as it is normal not to succeed on the first attempt. After all, even someone as talented as herself took half a month of training just to take this first step. As she speaks, a notification appears before Fang Zhou. The system has detected a learnable skill, skeleton meditation technique, and asks whether he wants to begin learning it. Without hesitation, he confirms. A wave of green energy completely envelops him, with symbols and runes spinning rapidly around him. For a moment, his face transforms, half human and half skeleton, reflecting the fusion between him and his avatar in the world of the dead. The system confirms that he has successfully learned the skeleton meditation technique, and even he is surprised by how quickly the process was completed. The skills description appears: apprentice-level basic and undead meditation technique capable of slowly increasing the spirit attribute by visualizing a skeleton. He reflects that it is no surprise he learned it so quickly, since the meditation is nothing more than visualizing a skeleton. For him, all he needs to do is look at his own avatar to completely fulfill the condition. Furthermore, he realizes something even more valuable. While he is not inside the world of the dead, the skeletal avatar continues training on its own through meditation. This means it is cultivating 24 hours a day, and he excitedly concludes that this system truly is a necromancer's innate sacred body. A new notification appears. The system has detected the strengthening of the host's spirit and informs him that he can now enter the world of the dead experience again. He then understands that entering the world of the dead consumes spirit and concludes that he cannot neglect training either his main body or his avatar. Determined, he orders the system to start the world of the dead experience once again. Back in that dark landscape, the skeletal avatar once again finds itself in the devastated terrain, its blue eyes glowing as it spots another figure approaching in the distance. Without hesitation, he advances with a slash of blue energy, cutting straight through the enemy with a precise strike. His constitution increases by 0-1 along with more soul power. Satisfied, he declares that it is time to hunt freely once again. A new notification appears. The avatar's skill has reached instinct proficiency, meaning it can now be used as material to deduce unknown skills for the main body, at an estimated cost of 10 soul power. A skill is deduced before him, Bone Spear, along with the option to continue deducing more skills. He finally understands what the system meant earlier by deducing skills, except that this process can actually only be performed while he is inside the world of the dead. The skeleton raises his hands into a prayer position, his eyes glowing with an intense blue light, and declares that it is time to begin the deduction. A green flame in the shape of a question mark forms before him as the analysis process slowly progresses. Shortly afterward, the result appears: successful skill deduction, Bone Spear. The description appears before him. Apprentice-level proficient condenses a bone spear to throw at enemies, dealing armor-piercing physical damage along with death energy damage, with the quantity, power, and range depending on the spirit attribute and skill proficiency. Fang Zhou realizes with satisfaction that the skill perfectly complements the weapon he forged himself earlier. To his surprise, a derived skill tree also appears. Bone Spear branches into 3 paths: Bone Shield, Giant Bone Claw, and Bone Prison. Astonished, he comments that this has given him an entire skill tree. He concludes that he needs to accumulate even more soul power to continue evolving. In the distance, he spots a skeleton and a skeleton dog walking together. He comments that this is a fortunate coincidence. He will use this group to test his new skill. Raising his arm, he launches Bone's spear, which tears through everything in its path with a devastating blue glow, destroying the weak skeletons with a single strike. The spear's bone still vibrates with the residual energy of the impact. Impressed by the result, he acknowledges that this skill is far stronger than the apprentice-level abilities he already possessed, such as Death Missile and Weakening Ray. He absorbs the remains of the defeated skeletons. Agility increases by 0.5 along with another 0.5 soul power. Strength increases by another 0.5 accompanied by more soul power. Surprised, he notices that the gains provided by these weaker creatures are decreasing with each absorption. Your stats update: Strength 3.1, Constitution 2.5, Agility 2.5, Spirit 2, Soul Power 10. 2. He concludes that the system will not let him farm attributes infinitely from the same weak creatures. It is pushing him to advance into more dangerous areas of the world of the dead. Even so, before losing access to the bone essence of those weak creatures for good, he decides that he needs to work even harder to devour the remaining low-level undead in the area, surrounded by his skeletons and the wolf-like beasts he has already tamed. Back in the real world, in the meditation room, Fang Zhou lets out a quiet chuckle, distracted by his own thoughts. Shen Hongyu notices his strange behavior and approaches, lightly tugging on the collar of his coat to get his attention. She questions him seriously, asking why he is sitting there laughing to himself while everyone else is working hard on meditation. Fang Zhou stammers, unsure of what to say. Lu Renjia interrupts, teasing him. He knows the reason: Fang Zhou simply cannot meditate at all. Another student questions whether that makes sense, since rare classes usually achieve better results in meditation. A third student retorts that only an idiot would think that way because everything depends on which rare class it is. Another classmate adds, explaining that almost nobody awakens as a necromancer and that the skeleton meditation technique learned by this class is known to be incomplete. He concludes that it is no surprise Fang Zhou has difficulty even entering a meditative state. Fang Zhou simply remains silent. Shen Hongyu reprimands Fang Zhou, saying that she knows meditation is difficult for his class, but he should not simply give up on himself, and because of his lack of effort, the entire class is wasting time. She then points to Lu Renjia as an example, praising his dedication. In just one class period, he has already managed to visualize the hilt of his own blade. Lu Renjia, forming an orange sword-shaped flame in the palm of his hand, responds with false modesty that the teacher is exaggerating, saying that he has already understood about 1/3 of the meditation technique, and adds that this cultivation speed is merely that of an average genius. Lu Renjia looks at Fang Zhou with disdain and declares that by now, he should already understand the difference between a necromancer and the other classes. Fang Zhou simply smiles and calmly comments that such a rate of progress is indeed only average. Annoyed by the provocation, Lu Renjia immediately retorts that Fang Zhou cannot even enter a meditative state and should look at his own situation before bragging about anything. Unfazed, Fang Zhou releases an explosion of green energy around himself, causing Lu Renjia to stumble backward in fright. Shen Hongyu shouts Lu Renjia's name in alarm and orders him to focus his mind. She then turns to Fang Zhou, demanding an explanation. She states that meditation class is for learning meditation, and that he should save that aggression for the practical combat class later. Fang Zhou calmly replies that he only wanted Lu Renjia to move away a little. He adds with a smile that he did it so he could show the teacher his progress in meditation. The surrounding classmates react in shock, asking if Fang Zhou really managed to meditate successfully. One of them immediately downplays the achievement, saying that even if he succeeded, he could have completed no more than 1/10 of the basic level. Bai Xiaochen simply watches the scene, murmuring his name with concern. Fang Zhou then activates the skeleton meditation technique in front of everyone. An explosion of bluish energy erupts from the room, blinding everything around them. Lu Renjia and another classmate stand frozen, unable to believe what they are seeing. Shen Hongyu's eyes widen, unable to understand how this is possible, and she admits in astonishment that he reached the basic level of the skeleton meditation technique in just one class period. Behind Fang Zhou, a gigantic skeletal shadow rises, and he confidently comments that at this rate, compared to an average genius, he must be 1 billion times ahead. At that moment, Instructor Lu Hu enters the classroom and comments that everyone's meditation progress seems to be going very well. He then announces that there will be a test the next day. Fang Zhou asks in surprise what kind of test it will be. The class panics, questioning whether practical combat training will begin so soon, since many of them have not even understood the basics of their own meditation technique. Lu Renjia takes the opportunity to provoke Fang Zhou once again, saying that practical combat has nothing to do with meditation, and that in his area of expertise he wants to see how a weak mage like Fang Zhou plans to act tough. Back in the world of the dead, Fang Zhou advances through the devastated landscape toward other skeletons. Fang Zhou reflects that after mastering the skeleton meditation technique, the amount of time he can spend in the world of the dead has also increased considerably. He declares that he cannot relax. He needs to eliminate more undead creatures before his spirit is completely depleted. He keeps advancing without stopping, shouting for more as he attacks one enemy after another in a relentless sequence. With every strike, he demands more, cutting through the horde with growing fury. Dust and debris fill the battlefield as he declares that he can still kill many more. Breathing heavily, he finally slows down. Surrounded by the bodies of the defeated creatures, he acknowledges that his spirit is also nearly at its limit for the day. A notification appears before him. The host's class level has increased and the companion's skeleton avatar can now be strengthened. Satisfied, he comments that all that effort seems to have paid off. He confirms the upgrade without hesitation. An intense green light completely envelops his body as the upgrade progress bar advances. His eyes glow even more intensely when the process is completed. The new status screen appears. Skeleton Avatar, Apprentice Intermediate Level, Strength 5, Constitution 3, Agility 3, Spirit 3, equipped with the Bone Spear Gray Inferior Bone Armament at the Instinct level, and a new ability Brutal Strike at the Beginner level with Soul Power at 10. Surprised, he comments that he did not expect the upgrade itself to grant him a new bonus ability. The description of the new ability appears. Brutal Strike, Apprentice Level Beginner, instantly releases tremendous force to attack the enemy, with its power depending on the strength attribute and proficiency in the ability. Excited, he comments that with this ability, he will be able to eliminate the undead creatures much faster. But suddenly he feels a sinister dizziness. He realizes in panic that he became so distracted admiring his new ability that he forgot his spirit was already beyond its limit. The scene shifts to the courtyard of Haicheng High School in broad daylight with students walking across the grass. Fang Zhou is sitting in the stands, clutching his head tightly and complaining about the pain, muttering that his spirit is still too low. Bai Xiaochen approaches and asks what happened, noticing that he has looked terrible since meditation class throughout the entire week. He brushes it off, saying that he is fine and has simply been training for too long every day. Internally, however, he thinks that he cannot let anyone discover the system, and decides that from now on, he will only enter the world of the dead when he is completely alone. Not far away, two classmates watch the scene and mockingly comment that Necromancer really is a trash class, since meditating for a little while already leaves someone this week. The other adds that he should not think he is so special just because he learned the basics of a meditation technique, because in the end it is actual strength that determines the value of a class. Annoyed, Xiaochen turns around and retorts that they are exaggerating, and that Fang Zhou did nothing to offend them. She defensively asks why they insist on picking on Fang Zhou all the time. Lu Renjia responds disdainfully that he is only telling the truth. Fang Zhou turns directly toward Lu Renjia and challenges him, asking if he wants to get beaten again. Lu Renjia stares back without intimidation and retorts, asking if Fang Zhou really thinks he is still the same person he was a week ago. Lu Renjia raises his hand, a blade of fire forming between his fingers, and declares that he has already learned a class skill and now he only needs one strike to defeat him. Before the confrontation can escalate, a deep voice interrupts everything, ordering everyone to stop immediately. They are surprised to recognize instructor Lu Hu. Lu Hu harshly reprimands Lu Renjia, saying that the school teaches them skills so they can kill evil ghosts in the future, not so they can fight among themselves. Embarrassed, Lu Renjia mutters that he understands. Lu Hu then turns to Fang Zhou, who is standing beside Bai Xiaochen, and comments that he saw his results in meditation class, warning him that he also needs to work harder in practical combat training. Fang Zhou promptly replies, "Yes, sir." As the instructor walks away, Fang Zhou thinks to himself that Lu Hu seems to be deliberately looking out for him. Shortly afterward, already on an open field, Lu Hu calls the entire class together and the students respond obediently in unison. He orders an assistant to bring all the equipment, who promptly confirms. The students watch curiously as something heavy is pushed toward the center of the field. Lu Hu reveals an apprentice-level training dummy, explaining that it is used to test each student's attacking and defensive capabilities. He explains that the dummy was calibrated based on the imp, the weakest sacrificial unit among the abyssal demons, and that a defense of 100 points is required to directly block its claws. A student comments, poking the dummy, that it looks so battered that he doubts they can break it. Lu Hu repeats the question with a challenging smile, asking if he really thinks so. He states that no freshman has ever managed to destroy these dummies, and declares that if any of them can dismantle one today using only their own strength, he, Lu Hu himself, will personally request a reward of 20 contribution points in his own name as an instructor. The class cheers, impressed by the generosity of the offer, and one student excitedly comments that now they really have a reason to give it their all. Fang Zhou reflects thoughtfully that in this world, contribution points function as currency, being necessary to purchase items and skills. Eager, the students jostle to be the first to test their strength, and Lu Hu organizes them into a line, announcing that they will begin with the common classes. The first student steps forward, summoning flames around his hands, and attacks the dummy while shouting, "Fireball." The impact explodes against the dummy's chest, engulfing everything in flames. Lu Hu checks the result on the tablet and announces that the attack power was 48 points, saying that the student still needs a lot of training. Surprised, the boy questions how the score can be so low when the attack seems so powerful. Next, a red-haired student steps forward with a scythe in hand, surrounded by a bloody aura, and attacks while shouting, "Mutilating strike." The score shows 47 points as the result of his attack. Next, a teal-haired boy fires a glowing arrow, shouting, "Petrifying arrow." The score shows 50 points. Standing beside the assistant robot, Lu Hu announces that all the common classes have finished their tests and that the remaining special classes may step onto the stage one at a time. Two students comment dejectedly that among everyone who awakened common classes, not a single result exceeded 60 points. One of them concludes that it is no wonder Lu Hu was so generous with the bet, since there was no way they could obtain the 20 contribution points. A third student wonders curiously what kind of scores the students with hidden classes will achieve. Fang Zhou looks at his own hands, green energy taking shape around them, and reflects that all of his attacks currently depend on the skeleton. He wonders whether the training dummy's score can be accumulated cumulatively. Lu Renjia approaches him with a confident smile and comments that, judging by Fang Zhou's hesitant expression, he must already know that his attack power is at the very bottom. Fang Zhou simply stares at him without reacting. Lu Renjia charges forward, wielding a dagger, and declares that he will show the difference between them right now after learning a class skill. He attacks while shouting, "Ghost Dagger." The score shows 80 points. Boasting in front of Bai Xiaochen and Fang Zhou, he exclaims that this proves the power of the hidden class Phantom Assassin. Bai Xiaochen cuts him off coldly, saying that he does not need to be so full of himself since he is not the only one there who awakened a hidden class. Lu Hu calls the next student for the test, a red-haired young man known as Yifan, the Mortal Leaf, who promptly replies, "Yes, sir." The classmates comment among themselves, remembering that Yifan awakened the Demon Hunter class, and that as soon as he awakened, he caught the attention of the school administration, which even formed a research group specifically to monitor him. One of them admits enviously that he is curious to see his attack power. Yifan raises his hand and a curved blade of crackling green energy materializes in response to his call. His eyes glow intensely as the weapon vibrates, ready to attack. He leaps into the air and delivers a strike, shouting "Vengeance Strike," and hitting the dummy with full force. The score reads 65 points, and two classmates comment in surprise that the result is only slightly higher than theirs. But Yifan does not stop there. His eyes glow even brighter, and he announces that he is not finished yet. He chains another attack, the Vengeance combo, rapidly raising the score to 69, then 88, with the numbers shooting upward. With a final strike, the score bursts to 100 points. Lu Hu announces, impressed, that Yifan has reached an attack power of 100, while the young man remains standing, proudly holding the enormous curved blade in front of everyone. Watching everything from a distance, Fang Zhou gives a slight smile and concludes that if attack power can be calculated cumulatively, destroying the training dummy should not be difficult for him either. He moves forward with Bai Xiaochen. In front of everyone, Yifan proudly raises his chin and declares that there is no opponent capable of surpassing him. Lu Renjia fires back, unimpressed, saying that the result is nothing more than an inflated score from stacking attacks, and that if he had known beforehand, he would have attacked more times as well. Bai then turns to Yifan and suspiciously asks where he got a combo skill from since his class is an assassin. Lu Hu calls the next student Bai Xiaochen, who promptly responds. Surrounded by green energy made of wind and leaves, she declares that, as another bearer of a hidden class, she cannot afford to lose badly. She unleashes a wind shout, striking with everything she has. The scoreboard shows only 31 points, and she complains in frustration that the combat power of a support class is really too low. Lu Renjia lets out a mocking laugh, asking if that is all she has after all that boasting. Irritated, Bai Xiaochen retorts that if she had awakened as an assassin, her attack capability would certainly be above 80. Lu Hu immediately calls the next student, Guzhik. Guzhikyu, the storm mage, fires 2 streams of condensed wind, shouting "Chain Wind Missile." The scoreboard shows 72 points. Next, Zhao Yuan, the Earth Knight, charges forward with his armored fist, shouting "Armored Shield Impact," scoring 69 points. Chen Yang, the Heavy Hammer Warrior, strikes with all his strength, shouting "Giant Hammer Impact," reaching 84 points. 3 classmates observe the results and comment that, although all those scores are much higher than their own, no one has managed to reach 100. One of them laments that even if someone reaches 100, it still would not be enough to break the training dummy, so Lu Hu's contribution points will not be distributed after all. Another disagrees, reminding them that there is still one hidden class bearer left to test. A third one adds, "That's right, the last person on the list is still left, the necromancer Fang Zhou." Nearby, Lu Renjia thinks to himself with contempt that betting on a necromancer is crazy since he probably cannot even reach 10 attack capability points. Someone agrees, laughing. Lu Renjia continues mocking him, saying that it is not even certain whether that skeleton of his can stand properly. Fang Zhou, who heard everything, looks at Lu Renjia and asks if he is really that certain that he will not be able to get 20 contribution points. Lu Renjia laughs and replies that of course he is, otherwise what? Confidently, Lu Renjia points at the training dummy and challenges him. If Fang Zhou can break it too, he himself will eat that training dummy right there in front of everyone. Fang Zhou smiles and replies that he was the one who said it. Confused, Lu Renjia asks what he means. Fang Zhou asks everyone to take a few steps back. Lu Renjia mocks him, asking if he is afraid the result will be so bad that everyone will see him embarrass himself. Fang Zhou simply replies that it is not that. Green chains and lightning begin wrapping around his body, and he calmly explains that the skill he is about to release only needs a relatively large space, nothing more. Behind him, a ghostly skull with blue eyes begins to materialize among the chains, letting out a drawn-out, repetitive laugh that echoes across the field. The classmates around them widen their eyes in disbelief, asking if those are really 10 skeletons and whether Fang Zhou is joking. One of them questions whether they did not say that a newly awakened apprentice-level necromancer could normally only summon 2 skeletons. Another wonders in bewilderment whether Fang Zhou has already advanced directly to the Dark Iron Mage level. Amid the scene, Lu Hu recalls in astonishment that even Su Xinyan, known as the most talented necromancer in history, could only summon 5 skeletons at most when she first awakened. He looks at Fang Zhou beside the assistant robot and wonders in disbelief whether his talent could really be even greater than Su Xinyan's. Fang Zhou, meanwhile, thinks to himself that it is a good thing he held back a little, because otherwise the attention he was receiving right now would be even greater. He gives a curt order. The skeletal fists plunge with full force into the training dummy. Lu Renjia's eyes widen, impressed by the creature's speed. The skeletons advance one after another, repeatedly striking the training dummy without giving it a moment's respite. The scoreboard rises rapidly, 30, then 45, passing 60 before stabilizing at 65. Someone comments that despite all the commotion, the final attack value is not considered particularly high. Another points out that 65 is already not bad, since many warriors cannot even reach that number. A third concludes that even when striking with so many skeletons at once, necromancers are still far too weak. Lu Renjia bursts into laughter, asking if that is all only 65 points, and adds mockingly that on average, a single skeleton cannot even strike with 10 attack capability points. Fang Zhou simply smiles and says there is no need to worry because that is only the beginning. Confused, Lu Renjia asks what he means, wondering if this is not just a futile last stand. With a confident smile, Fang Zhou declares that if 10 skeletons are not enough, then how about 20 and more bone creatures emerge from the shadows around him. The crowd reacts in shock. Bai exclaims that Fang Zhou had been holding back the entire time. 2 classmates count in astonishment, saying that there are at least 20 skeletons there, wondering whether there has ever been such a powerful necromancer in history. She smiles in satisfaction, saying that she always knew Fang Zhou would succeed. The training dummies panel begins to malfunction under the continuous assault, triggering an alarm as the score shoots up to 97 amid an explosion of sparks. The display cracks, showing the number 108 before short-circuiting completely. A violent explosion consumes the dummy entirely, forcing the audience to shield themselves with their arms, while Lu Hu's tablet cracks, its shattered screen displaying an error. Pieces of the dummy fly over the field's fence, spreading smoke throughout the area. The students shout in astonishment, saying that it was not 65 points. Fang Zhou completely exceeded the maximum limit the dummy could withstand. Someone questions whether this is real since he only awakened so recently. Another concludes breathlessly that this guy is definitely not human. Lu Renjia remains frozen, staring at the broken tablet whose display shows the number 999 flashing. He stammers, trying to understand how the value managed to exceed the test's own limit. With his face covered in sweat, all he can do is scream in disbelief, asking how this is possible. Fang Zhou crouches down and picks up the broken head of the training dummy from the ground, still smoking from the wreckage. He approaches Lu Renjia and holds it out, calmly saying that now he can eat it, just as he promised. Lu Renjia stammers, unable to form a sentence. Cornered, he takes several steps back. Fang Zhou says that if he really does not want to eat it, that is fine too, but he says that if he wants to live, he had better disappear from his sight forever. Lu Renjia walks away with his head lowered, swearing that next time he will show what he is capable of. Bai Xiaochen approaches Fang Zhou, amazed by what she has just witnessed, and asks how he can be so strong, excitedly asking him to teach her how to cultivate in the same way. He brushes it off, saying that it is just ordinary meditation training. Lu Hu also approaches, praising Fang Zhou and admitting that it has truly opened his eyes. Fang Zhou modestly replies that the instructor is exaggerating. Lu Hu firmly grips his shoulder and promises that he will personally fight to secure him a spot on the school's priority cultivation list, known as the Seeds List. The scene shifts to the principal's office, where a white-haired man with scars on his face reviews reports at his desk. He reads that out of the school's 10,000 freshmen, 9,103 successfully awakened, while 897 failed, a success rate of approximately 91%. He continues reading, noting that a total of 85 students awaken rare classes, including the Earth Knight Zhao Yuan, the Songcord Bai Xiaochen, the Storm Mage Gu Zhikyu, the Demon Hunter Yi Fan, and other names on the list. Considering the 100 spots available on the Priority Cultivation Seeds list, he decides that these 85 students can enter directly. But when he turns to the next page, he stops in front of a photograph. He reads aloud that the hopeless necromancer Fang Zhou should remain off the list. At that moment, hurried footsteps echo from outside and someone asks for permission to enter. Surprised, the principal asks if it is not Instructor Lu, questioning what he is doing there since he should be conducting combat training. Lu Hu, hurriedly flipping through a stack of papers, announces that he has brought an urgent report. He searches through the documents while the principal questions the reason for such haste, until Lu Hu finally finds what he was looking for. Raising the file firmly, Lu Hu declares, Necromancer Fang Zhou, and announces that he is officially recommending him for the school's seeds list. The principal rubs his forehead tiredly and explains that the necromancer class has high theoretical potential, but history has already proven that turning that potential into real strength is practically impossible. Lu Hu says that Major Xinyan is a necromancer, and that her combat power rivals that of any other mage. The principal reveals that Su Xinyan's father was a retired legend who invested every possible resource in her just to make her minimally competent. He then asks directly what kind of capital this Fang Zhou supposedly possesses to deserve the same treatment. Lu Hu places something on the desk and replies that he knows the principal served alongside Fang Zhou's parents. With his back turned, the principal confirms it, saying that yes, they were true heroes of the Federation. The principal keeps his gaze fixed on the window and reflects that the seeds list is not something to be taken lightly. Admission grants far more than just resources and requires an equivalent level of responsibility. Lu Hu replies that this is exactly why he is recommending Fang Zhou and hands the principal Fang Zhou's latest evaluations in meditation and combat classes. The principal flips through the papers in disbelief and reads aloud that the boy mastered the skeleton meditation technique in his very first lesson and managed to summon more than 20 skeletons in actual combat. Lu Hu insists that with talent like this, Fang Zhou could rewrite the entire history of necromancers. The principal relents, saying that there is nothing more to say. They will evaluate his results when the simulated battlefield opens. Looking at the photograph on the file, the principal murmurs the boy's name, curious to discover what other surprises he still has in store. Back on campus, Bai Xiaochen catches up with Fang Zhou, still impressed, asking how he managed to summon so many skeletons during his very first real combat lesson. He downplays the feat, saying they were just a few extra summons, nothing special. She retorts that excessive modesty is nothing more than arrogance in disguise. He simply laughs, insisting that he genuinely does not consider it a great achievement. Inside, however, Fang Zhou thinks that he cannot tell her that the power he displayed there was only a drop in the ocean compared to what he is truly capable of. Suddenly, a voice calls out for him to wait. Fang Zhou turns around curiously. Yifan approaches and declares with conviction that he bows to no one and that throughout Class 1, Fang Zhou is the only person worthy of being his opponent. Bai Xiaochen is left speechless, while Fang Zhou simply widens his eyes in confusion. Uninterested, Fang Zhou refuses, saying that he has no patience to entertain the challenge of a boy acting mysterious. Bai Xiaochen comments that she finds the whole thing strange, while Yifan shouts for him to wait. Yifan explains that this is not a simple challenge. He wants Fang Zhou to be his sparring partner. Intrigued, Fang Zhou asks what he means by that. Yifan explains that after awakening the rare Demon Hunter class, he was recruited by the corresponding research division, and that to advance their studies, they need him to have a training partner of equivalent strength. Fang Zhou calmly questions why he should agree to participate in someone else's research project. Yifan raises a finger, determined, and offers 10 contribution points, enough to cover 2 weeks of training, as well as lodging and food. Fang Zhou says he is satisfied and accepts the offer. Yifan smiles and comments that this is exactly what he expected from his destined rival. Bai Xiaochen reacts in surprise, asking if Fang Zhou really gave in that easily. Without wasting time, Yifan calls for them to follow him, saying there is no time to lose. Still incredulous, Bai Xiaochen asks if he really just sold himself like that to that weird boy. Fang Zhou simply shrugs and replies that why not, since 10 contribution points are not something to look down on. Deep down, Fang Zhou thinks that besides that, back home they probably really need those points right now. As they walk, he wonders if Yifan might be some kind of rich heir, since he hands out contribution points so easily. Bai Xiaochen retorts that he is no rich heir, all those points are merely an advance from the research division. Surprised, Fang Zhou asks if the research division is really that generous. She clarifies that it is only an advance, meaning Yifan will have to pay everything back later. She adds sarcastically that judging by how freely he spends his own money, he will probably spend the first 20 years after graduation drowning in debt. Fang Zhou simply murmurs that he understands. Yifan stops in front of an imposing building and excitedly calls them over, asking them to come inside quickly. Once inside the division's laboratory, he proudly shows off the facility, asking if it is not impressive. Fang Zhou looks around and reflects that the laboratory is extremely well equipped. The privileges of possessing a rare class really are on another level. A green-haired scientist with a mechanical arm approaches and greets them. He introduces himself as Chen Qingshan, a silver-rank warrior, wielder of the Gale Ranger class and director of the Demon Hunter Research Division. Fang Zhou politely greets him, while Bai Xiaochen merely nods. Looking at the professor's mechanical arm, Fang Zhou thinks that even though he is assigned to logistics and research, one can still feel the killing instinct of a frontline veteran emanating from him. Chen Qingshan explains that recently within the Abyssal Secret Realm, another human demon hunter reached the legendary crown, managing to slay an Abyssal Lord and demonstrating overwhelming combat power. He continues, explaining that because of this, Heicheng Military Academy is taking Yifan's awakening as a demon hunter very seriously, and they formed that research division precisely in the hope of unlocking his full potential. Chen Qingshan turns to Fang Zhou and reveals that he has already reviewed his file as well, offering with a smile to establish a smaller research division exclusively for him. Nervously, Fang Zhou raises his hands and politely declines. Deep down, he thinks he has no interest whatsoever in spending the first 20 years after graduation drowning in debt. Unbothered by the refusal, Chen Qingshan agrees and leads them to the real combat testing arena. As they descend the stairs, he explains that the division has already established complete safety protocols, allowing them to fight with everything they have without worrying about lethal risks. He adds that to ensure both of them can fight at full capacity, each person may choose 3 pieces of combat equipment from the arsenal. Staring at the displayed weapons, Fang Zhou thinks that Yifan is no easy opponent. His speed and burst damage are a direct counter to the skeleton's summoning ability. Surrounded by crackling green energy, he declares with determination that it is time to use skill deduction to enhance his own combat power. Before him, the skeleton summoning skill shines, ready to be upgraded, while Bone Spear rises to level 2 and Bone Shield awakens at level 1. Yifan hangs his coat to the side, muttering to himself that it is finally time. He comments confidently that he recently mastered weapon mastery for his blade bow, and adds that even if Fang Zhou manages to summon 20 skeletons, he still would not be a match for him. Fang Zhou simply laughs, replying that maybe that is true, but he adds seriously that now that he has distributed his skill points, that is about to change. His status panel updates completely. Fang Zhou, Necromancer class, low-level apprentice rank, Strength 1-5, Agility 1-3, Constitution 1-3, Spirit 2-5, Split Soul status, no equipment, with Skeleton Meditation Technique learned and upgradable, Skeleton Summoning learned, as well as Bone Spear and Bone Shield already at proficient level. He stares at Yifan and warns seriously that he hopes he will not be disappointed. Beside him, the borrowed equipment glows. An apprentice staff, gray and inferior quality, a standard mass-produced item that marginally increases spell effectiveness, and an apprentice cloak, also gray and inferior quality, which slightly reduces damage taken. Yifan smiles, saying that this is exactly what he expected from his destined rival, and adds that all that confidence is commendable. However, without waiting any longer, he charges forward first, shouting that the power he gained in the research division is far beyond Fang Zhou's understanding. Outside the arena, the researchers watch the battle, betting that Yifan will undoubtedly win, since they have been monitoring him for an entire week and have never seen such terrifying combat instincts. Lu Hu appears and comments on how Chen Qingshan is already deciding the outcome before the fight has even begun. The scientist is surprised by his unexpected arrival and asks what brings him there. Lu Hu explains that 2 of his best students are training, and that, as their instructor, it is only natural for him to come watch. Chen Qingshan curiously asks whether he really believes Fang Zhou can defeat Yifan. Without hesitation, Lu Hu confirms that he does. Chen Qingshan considers that Fang Zhou can indeed summon a huge number of skeletons, but that does not change the fact that he is still just a physically frail mage. He adds even more confidently that besides that, Chen Qingshan reveals that just the previous day Yifan comprehended an exceptionally powerful movement skill and warns Lu Hu that he may be about to be surprised. Lu Hu reacts tensely. Yifan charges forward with all his strength, swinging a curved blade, but Zhou easily dodges. Quickly retreating, Fang Zhou thinks that Yifan is far too dangerous in close combat and that he needs to create distance as soon as possible. But Yifan gives him no respite, advancing at high speed with his weapon wrapped in blue energy. He uses it like a bow, warning him not to think that distance will save him. He rapidly closes the gap between them, the blade tearing through the air while Fang Zhou continues trying to escape. Fang Zhou's eyes glow an intense green as he grips his staff. The summoning circle fully opens and 2 skeletons emerge beside Fang Zhou, ready for battle, but they are quickly torn apart by Yifan's energy arrows. He continues advancing at high speed, the blade tearing through the air in arcs of blue light, thinking that he needs to disrupt Fang Zhou's summoning rhythm at all costs. The blow lands squarely, and Fang Zhou curses under his breath, feeling the summoning forcibly interrupted. Yifan closes the distance even further, and Fang Zhou barely manages to escape, muttering that was too close. Quickly, he touches the ground with his hand, activating a new summoning circle. Several skeletons emerge simultaneously in a praying position, one of them glowing with an intense green third eye, the skeleton summoning command being cast once again. From the observation room, Chen Qingshan comments, impressed, that the new generation really is formidable. He turns to Lu Hu and declares that, considering Fang Zhou's performance so far, even if he ends up losing to Yifan, he already approves his entry into the seed list. Lu Hu cuts him off, warning old Chen not to get ahead of himself. Deep down, Lu Hu thinks tensely that the boy is surprisingly calm and experienced for his age, and refuses to believe that he has already exhausted all his hidden cards. Meanwhile, Yifan continues advancing through the middle of the skeleton horde, taking down another one with a precise slash. Sweating, Fang Zhou tensely acknowledges that he can no longer hold back. He raises his staff above his head and unleashes all his power, an explosion of green energy consuming the field as the skeleton summoning command is activated once again at full strength. In the observation room, everyone's eyes widen as they stammer in disbelief, counting 30 skeletons at once. Someone asks, bewildered, how a boy who awakened only a few days ago could have improved this skill so much. Surrounded by the growing horde, Yifan smiles and admits that it is not bad at all, only power of this caliber is worthy of being called his destined rival. Watching the scene, Fang Zhou pulls his hood over his head and thinks suspiciously that Yifan remains far too calm even while surrounded by all those skeletons. He must still have a hidden card up his sleeve. Without hesitation, Yifan charges through the horde, cutting through them one after another, shouting attack after attack as he destroys the skeletons around him. One of the defeated skulls collapses onto the ground, reduced to dust and fragments. With his eyes glowing green, Yifan advances through what remains of the skeletons and declares that this distance should be enough. Crackling energy gathers around his body. Wrapped in a wave of greenish energy, Yifan shoots forward in an explosive movement, his secret card finally revealed, Shadow Charge. Chen Qingshan watches the attack advance and declares that it is all over. Once a mage is caught in close combat, there is no way to withstand Yifan's attack. Lu Hu simply remains silent, tense. Yifan charges through the horde of skeletons, blade raised, shouting revenge strike at the hooded figure before him. But Fang Zhou calmly whispers that he has fallen right into the trap. A bone shield rises, completely blocking the attack in an explosion of light. Thrown backward by the impact itself, Yi Fan shouts in confusion, asking what kind of skill that is. Chen Qingshan recognizes it in astonishment, realizing that it is a completely new necromancer skill. Lu Hu adds incredulously that the boy deduced a brand new skill on his own, and that it simply should not be possible. Fang Zhou walks toward Yi Fan and apologizes, saying that Yi Fan proved to be stronger than he expected, so he had to resort to a few tactics. Chen Qingshan's eyes widen in disbelief at what he sees, while Lu Hu mutters that the boy's tactics are truly dirty. Only then is the truth revealed. All along, Fang Zhou had been using an optical camouflage cloak to disguise himself among his own skeletons, making himself impossible to distinguish within the horde itself. Desperate, Yi Fan scans the group of creatures around him, cursing because he cannot locate Fang Zhou's real body anywhere. He shouts, demanding that Fang Zhou show himself. Cornered by the stalemate, Yi Fan grits his teeth, his eyes blazing green, and reluctantly admits that if this continues, they will simply wear him down little by little. He has no choice but to use that attack. Blue-green energy begins to rise powerfully around him. Lu Hu asks in shock how it is possible that he has already learned that skill at his current level. Chen Qingshan seriously confirms that he has, despite its extremely long cooldown. The skill grants phenomenal burst damage and the ability to disengage from combat. With glowing eyes, Yi Fan aims at the cluster of skeletons and declares that he has found the right target. Leaping into the air, weapon raised above his head, completely enveloped in crackling energy, he unleashes the final blow, shouting heavenly charge while warning Fang Zhou that he had better prepare to receive it. Yi Fan lets out a battle cry, his eyes blazing green, and dives with everything he has toward the horde of skeletons. The blow descends like lightning. Under the camouflage hood, a skull with blue eyes smiles calmly as if it already knew what was coming. The explosion consumes everything around it, shaking the entire field with the force of the impact. As the smoke begins to clear, Yi Fan sees a fallen figure in the distance, still trembling from the residual effects of the attack. Breathing heavily, he declares that Fang Zhou's strength really is impressive, but that Yi Fan also has enough pride to refuse to accept defeat. He shouts for the medical team to be called as soon as possible, stating that he has no interest whatsoever in taking anyone's life. Outside in the observation room, Chen Qingshan celebrates with his fist raised. Lu Hu watches with his arms crossed, satisfied, while Bai remains silent. Confused by their reactions, Yi Fan thinks to himself that the expressions on their faces are strange. Those are not the looks normally given to a winner. Then the truth is revealed. The body struck by the attack begins to crumble into dust, showing that it was not Fang Zhou. In a panic, Yi Fan shouts that this is not Fang Zhou. He widens his eyes, realizing in horror. Reverse camouflage combined with double camouflage, Fang Zhou did not disguise himself as a skeleton. He made one of the skeletons disguise itself as him while he himself disguised himself as a skeleton. The fallen skeletons begin grabbing his leg. It is then that the real Fang Zhou finally reveals himself, standing calmly behind Yi Fan, his staff glowing blue. He calls Yi Fan by name and thanks him for the honorable duel they fought. With nothing else he can do, Yi Fan drops his weapon. Cornered, he has no choice but to announce his surrender, and his voice echoes through the hall declaring Fang Zhou the winner. Exhausted, Yi Fan thinks that the abilities he used earlier drained a large portion of his energy, leaving him with no strength at all. Staggering, he begins to fall, but the skeleton catches him by the chest before he hits the ground. Supported by the skeleton, Yi Fan murmurs, still out of breath, a sincere thank you. With a confident smile and his thumb raised, Fang Zhou replies that there is no need to thank him, that it is simply a kind of pity for the loser. Being carried away on a stretcher by the skeletons themselves, Yi Fan shouts furiously that failure only serves as fuel to become stronger, and promises that what goes around comes around and that one day he will show Fang Zhou what he is capable of. Putting away his staff, Fang Zhou walks away muttering that he was only joking, wondering if all that emotion was really necessary. Chen Qingshan walks beside Lu Hu and reluctantly admits that despite being hesitant to acknowledge it, his classmate Fang Zhou's combat abilities have surpassed all his expectations. He approaches and comments, touching Fang Zhou's shoulder, that with tactics as dirty as those, he will inevitably become a master of strategy in the future. Fang Zhou awkwardly asks why that sounds more like criticism than praise. Lu Hu curiously asks if the shield spell he cast earlier is a new ability he created himself. Fang Zhou confirms that it is. He explains that he discovered it by accident while practicing the skeleton summoning ability, realizing that two new abilities had emerged there, which he named Bone Spear and Bone Shield. Chen Qingshan and Lu Hu fall silent, completely stunned and unable to react. Lu Hu slaps the boy on the back, shaking him with an excited laugh and praising him for never stopping his surprises. Fang Zhou, being shaken around, awkwardly asks the instructor to take it easy. Lu Hu turns to Chen Qingshan and suggests that since he has specialized equipment there, it would be interesting to test Fang Zhou's new abilities. Without hesitation, Chen Qingshan agrees and says he will arrange everything immediately. Fang Zhou warns them, exhausted, that his spirit is depleted and that he fears he will not be able to test both abilities right now. Lu Hu places a hand on his shoulder and assures him that he does not need to worry about such a simple detail. Surprised to see the boxes being brought in, Fang Zhou asks if those are boxes of beer. Lu Hu laughs and confirms it, telling him to drink straight from the bottle, revealing that they are actually spirit recovery potions. Feng Zhou downs the bottle in one go, blue energy crackling around him, and comments that this is the first time he has seen someone drink recovery potions like water. Already recovered, Lu Hu announces that the test is about to begin. Chen Qingshan confirms that the dummy is ready, and Feng Zhou assures them that his energy has been completely restored. The demonic robot activates, warning him to attack exactly as he did during the real combat class. Feng Zhou calmly agrees. He releases the bone spear directly at the dummy. The impact results in an attack power of 85 points. Impressed, Chen Qingshan comments beside an assistant recording the results that this is truly incredible performance for a student who has just awakened, and emphasizes that it is even more impressive because it is an ability he created himself. Lu Hu announces that they will now test the defensive ability. Feng Zhou agrees. The dummy charges forward with its fist flying. Feng Zhou raises the bone shield just in time to block the blow, recording a defense power of 80 points. Lu Hu analyzes the results and concludes that Feng Zhou's attack rivals that of a storm mage, while his defense is comparable to that of an earth knight. Excited, Lu Hu slaps the boy on the back again and exclaims that Feng Zhou really was born to be a necromancer. Embarrassed, Feng Zhou asks the instructor to stop shaking him, joking that everyone else will think he is trying to break his bones. Chen Qingshan approaches and suggests that since the abilities he created are excellent, it would be interesting to register them in the skill bank. Curious, Feng Zhou repeats the name thoughtfully. He reflects that the skill bank is a skill collection center created by the Federation, where anyone can exchange contribution points for skills registered there. Chen Qingshan adds that there is a branch of the Federation skill bank within the research division itself, available for use at any time. Feng Zhou thanks him and says he will take advantage of the opportunity. Lu Hu adds, explaining that after improving his abilities, he can use his accumulated contribution points to exchange for other skills he needs. Feng Zhou thanks him, saying that he understands. A heavy door creaks open. Feng Zhou enters a completely dark space and comments in confusion that this is supposed to be a skill library, so why is everything so dark inside? Suddenly, the entire environment lights up, doors sliding open with an imposing sound and revealing an enormous suspended library filled with shelves stretching as far as the eye can see. Impressed, he acknowledges that this truly lives up to the Federation skill bank. Walking between the gigantic shelves, he comments that he can find all the skills he already knows there. He touches a glowing purple orb which emits a soft hum as it activates. A notification appears. The Bone Spear and Bone Shield abilities have been successfully registered as new skills, earning a reward of 200 contribution points, and as the creator of the abilities, he will receive 50% of the exchange fees charged for them from now on. Satisfied, he comments that he now has a continuous source of income. He reflects that he does not always have the chance to enter the skill bank, so he cannot leave without taking the opportunity to obtain a few more things. His hand slides toward a book on the shelf, its title glowing, Skeleton Meditation Technique. Upon opening the illuminated volume, he excitedly declares that he will use those abilities as a foundation to complete new deductions, while a notification appears informing him that he has 100 soul power points available for the process. The skill bank system detects an improvable skill, the Skeleton Meditation Technique, and asks whether he wants to consume soul power to improve it with the options of yes or no. Without hesitation, he confirms. Eyes wide and sweating cold sweat, Feng Zhou feels an overwhelming energy consume him completely and exclaims tensely that this is an extremely powerful aura of death. A notification appears before him. The Skeleton Meditation Technique has been successfully upgraded, while the imposing silhouette of a crowned skeleton king rises before him. The skeleton throws a book in the protagonist's direction. Feng Zhou reaches out and catches the book in disbelief, asking if it is really for him. He absorbs the glowing book, arcs of blue energy crackling around his entire body. A new ability is revealed, Skeleton King Meditation Technique. The description appears, an upgraded version of the Skeleton Meditation Technique, capable of increasing meditation speed by 100% compared to the original, while also enhancing all Necromancer class abilities. With his fist clenched in satisfaction, he realizes that this not only increases his rate of growth, but also strengthens the power of his abilities. All that soul power spent was truly worth it. He reflects that no matter how powerful an ability is, it always requires an adequate amount of spirit to be released, and remembers that during his previous battle against Yifan, his spirit had nearly been completely depleted. Fortunately, he still has plenty of contribution points, and decides to exchange them for an ability that increases his spiritual energy. He points his finger, determined, choosing the Spirit Presence ability. The notification confirms, 20 contribution points consumed, skill exchange completed successfully. The description reveals that this ability passively increases spirit recovery speed for magic users, and when activated, also immediately restores an additional amount of spiritual energy. He notices that the only drawback of Spirit Presence is its extremely high learning difficulty, but for him that is no obstacle at all. The system asks whether he wants to consume 10 soul power points to master it quickly, and he confirms without hesitation. The ability is successfully mastered. He immediately tests its effect, blue energy swirling around him, and confirms with satisfaction that there is a noticeable improvement in spirit recovery speed. Confidently, he thinks that in his current state, if he faced Yifan again, he could simply crush him with an entire army of skeletons. He continues searching through the shelves, collecting a stack of books, Vine Entanglement, Swamp Spell, Earth Wall Spell, Spider Web Spell, and Weakening Bolt, saying that he can exchange for these as well so they can serve as references for future skill deductions. The notification confirms 60 contribution points consumed. He reflects that simply possessing skills is not enough. He also needs equipment powerful enough to complete the set, stopping in front of a display case. He remembers that a low-level apprentice, rank F, can only use grayish-white equipment of inferior quality. He reaches his hand into the display case and the notification confirms 40 contribution points consumed, equipment exchange completed successfully. The obtained items appear before him. An apprentice mage hat gray and of inferior quality which slightly increases maximum spirit, an apprentice necklace which slightly improves spirit recovery speed, and 2 apprentice rings which slightly reduce skill cooldown times. Upon equipping the entire set, a bonus activates, the complete apprentice mage set which increases training speed and skill proficiency growth rate by 10%. Satisfied, he puts everything away and smiles, commenting that this will make his progress much faster. His final status updates completely. Fang Zhou, Necromancer class, low-level apprentice rank, Strength 1-5, Agility 1-3, Constitution 1-3, Spirit 2-5, Split Soul status, equipped with the complete apprentice mage set, with Skeleton Meditation Technique mastered and improvable, Skeleton Summoning mastered, Bone Spear and Bone Shield at expert level, and Spirit Presence at beginner level. He looks over everything he obtained and concludes with satisfaction that it was truly a bountiful haul. The Federation skill bank is exceptional, exactly as he expected. Fang Zhou notices, surprised, that the projection of the crowned Skeleton King is still hovering nearby. He mutters that he almost forgot, the skeleton clone also needs compatible skills to keep up with all that growth. 3 books fly toward him, Weapon Mastery, Parry, and Battle Cry. He catches them, saying that these 3 skills are essential for the skeleton clone to learn. The notification confirms, 30 contribution points consumed, skill exchange completed successfully. Putting away the Weapon Mastery book, he comments that despite all the prestige of the skill bank, it really consumes a large amount of contribution points, and wonders whether he will be able to find another job as good as that training partner job in the future. Back in the courtyard of the Demon Hunters Research Division, Lu Hu asks how it went and whether he managed to learn any new skills. Fang Zhou confirms that the gains were enormous this time. Suddenly, Yifan interrupts him, shouting that he does not accept the result of their previous duel. He challenges him again, offering a potion and saying that last time he did not know Fang Zhou's tactics, but this time he will defeat him quickly. Fang Zhou asks if he's sure he wants another challenge right now, considering that he has just upgraded his own abilities. Yifan declares determinedly that he will not settle for being second place for the rest of his life, and that he will give everything he has to defeat him this time. Fang Zhou remarks that this counts as extra training, requiring the payment of more contribution points. Chen comments that as long as Yifan agrees it is fine in the end, he will have to pay the bill himself anyway. Fang Zhou accepts the duel and returns the potion to Yifan, warning him that he might need it soon. Surprised, Yifan can only mutter in confusion. Without waiting any longer, Yifan shouts Fang Zhou's name and charges straight into the attack. He immediately unleashes his most powerful attack, Heavenly Charge. Watching from a distance, Bai comments that Yifan used his ultimate technique right at the beginning of the battle and acknowledges that his battle instincts are truly brilliant. Lu Hu says that a lightning-fast attack is the only possible path to victory. Raising his hand, Lu Hu wonders how Fang Zhou will deal with that now that he has acquired new abilities. In response, a massive summoning circle opens beneath Fang Zhou's feet, illuminating the entire arena. Bai asks if he is simply going to repeat the same skeleton summoning from before. Lu Hu shouts that he is not alarmed. Fang Zhou watches the number growing before him and mutters in disbelief as he looks at the count. A colossal tower of skeletons rises from the ground, far greater than anything seen before, the thunderous sound reverberating throughout the entire arena. Lu Hu, stunned, shouts that this makes absolutely no sense. The mass of creatures crashes into Yifan's attack in a wave of blinding green light, engulfing the entire arena in a devastating explosion. From the cloud of dust, Chen Qingshan and Lu Hu watch the scene in astonishment. Chen Qingshan wonders if Yifan's strength has become even greater than before, explaining that the boy really managed to comprehend and improve his own ability during their previous battle. Sweaty, Fang Zhou stares at Yifan and comments that that attack was much stronger than the previous one. Calmly, standing before the immense horde of skeletons, Fang Zhou says that unfortunately for him, his own abilities have also become stronger, just a little stronger. Yifan shouts his name in alarm. Eyes wide and sweating cold sweat, he watches as the blue-eyed skeletons close in around him with a dry crack. In a panic, he begs them not to hit him in the face, but it was already too late and the beatdown began. When the dust settles, Chen Qingshan rubs his head and suggests ending the training session between the partners for today. Fang Zhou adds, looking at Yifan lying on the ground, that he probably will not be able to train for an entire week. Chen Qingshan asks whether he really does not intend to establish a research association dedicated to necromancers. Fang Zhou refuses, saying no thank you. Internally, he thinks that if official research were to discover that he possesses a system, it would become far too serious a problem. The scene shifts to inside the skill bank, where a pink-haired woman wearing elegant armor and a long cape walks between the shelves, intrigued. She stops in front of a specific section, surprised, not expecting new necromancer abilities to have been registered there. In the area identified as the skill repository, she reaches toward a high shelf and takes out a green book. The notification appears. Su Xinyan has consumed 20 contribution points, skill exchange completed successfully. She flips through the volume, reading aloud the names Bone Spear and Bone Shield, and comments impressed that she never expected to see bone-type spells being used in such a way. Whoever created these skills is undoubtedly a true genius. Determined, she strides forward, declaring that she needs to tell her father about this immediately. The scene cuts to Su Tianquo's office, where a voice curiously asks what brings Professor Lu Hu back once again. Lu Hu insists that once again he needs to request that Fang Zhou be included on the seeds list. Beside him, Chen Qingshan confirms that he will also endorse the request. Su Tianquo takes a sip of coffee and seriously questions why even old Chen is joining in on this madness, since even if the necromancer is doing well now, he will have a hard time finding skills suitable for his strength to learn in the future. Chen Qingshan reveals that Fang Zhou has already managed to comprehend 2 necromancer skills entirely on his own. Shocked, Su Tianquo chokes and spits out the coffee he had just drunk. Wiping his mouth, he retorts that comprehending a new skill is not a big deal, what really matters is its effectiveness. Lu Hu begins to explain his reasoning, saying that the true power of his skills. Before he can finish the sentence, the door suddenly opens. Su Xinyan enters the room, holding the 2 books, and excitedly exclaims that 2 new necromancer skills have just been added to the skill repository. Stunned, Su Tianquo incredulously repeats the words, necromancer skills. Completely surrounded by crackling bone energy, Su Xinyan explains that she only learned the 2 skills superficially, and that even without fully mastering them, their effectiveness is already impressive. She turns to her father and asks if he knows who created those skills. Su Tianquo hesitates, unsure of what to say. Radiant with excitement, Su Xinyan declares that she wants to become this person's apprentice. Outside, beneath the open sky, Su Tianquo's voice echoes, warning that unfortunately that will not be possible. She curiously asks why. The scene cuts to a classroom where Fang Zhou remains motionless in deep meditation, while Su Tianquo's explanation completes the thought from afar, because he is still only a student. Suddenly, Yi Fan bursts into the room, dramatically pointing his finger and shouting that his destined rival must duel him right now. Fang sighs and asks if he is serious again. Unfazed, still keeping his hands clasped together, Fang Zhou asks how many times Yi Fan has challenged him by now, and suggests that perhaps it is time to train instead of leveling up like this. Yi Fan smiles confidently, announcing that this time is different. Beside him, Bai Xiaochen reacts in confusion, not understanding what he is talking about. He proudly explains that thanks to Bai Xiaochen's help over the past few days, his strength has improved tremendously, and this time he will definitely defeat Fang Zhou. Irritated, she retorts that he was the one who begged on his knees in front of everyone, and she only agreed to help to put an end to the rumors. Curious, Fang Zhou asks if this is some kind of assistance to increase strength. Bai Xiaochen confirms it, explaining that over the past few days, while sleeping, she comprehended a very useful support skill called Lullaby. She explains that the skill accelerates spiritual energy recovery while simultaneously enhancing the effectiveness of meditation or training. She adds that the skill can only be used 3 times a day, and Yi Fan proudly admits that he spent 2 contribution points per week just for this opportunity. Internally, Fang Zhou wonders, unimpressed, if that boy plans to spend the rest of his life drowning in debt. Yi Fan confidently insists that this time he is certain he will win. Suddenly, Fang Zhou's eyes widen with an idea. If that skill enhances meditation and training, it should also work on his skeleton. He hurriedly grabs Bai Xiaochen's arm and asks if she can sell him the remaining uses of Lullaby. Embarrassed, she replies that it is not impossible. Yi Fan protests, shouting that he does not like being ignored. Without wasting time, Fang Zhou raises his hand and summons a skeleton right there in the classroom. He turns to Yi Fan and tells him that he can play with that skeleton for now, and not to forget to transfer the contribution points afterward. Furious, Yi Fan shouts curses, saying that Fang Zhou has no right to underestimate him like that, and charges at the 3 creatures. Fang Zhou turns to Bai Xiaochen and asks her to use Lullaby on him. She agrees. She begins to sing bright green musical notes surrounding Fang Zhou as he kneels down, the skill taking full effect. In the world of the dead, his avatar remains seated in a lotus position beneath a blood-red moon, streams of green energy slowly rising from his body amid the desolate landscape. Surrounded by Lullaby's green aura, the avatar declares with satisfaction that the effect really does reach the skeletal clone as well. His new status screen is fully revealed. Skeleton clone, high-level apprentice rank, strength 8, constitution 7, agility 7, spirit 6, equipped with a low-quality gray bone spear, with the skills bone armament at the innate level, brutal strike at the expert level, charge at the experienced level, weapon mastery at the experienced level, block at the proficient level, and battle cry at the proficient level with 50 soul power. Watching the enemies approaching in the distance, he declares that this is the perfect moment to use them as a test, evaluating the effects of all the clone's new skills in practice. The skeleton charges at the protagonist with a club. Without hesitation, he throws the bone spear at the nearest enemy. Another attack comes toward him and he defends himself using block, reducing the damage received with a perfect defensive stance. His weapon lights up with weapon mastery, blue energy crackling across the blade. He dodges a precise strike with a perfectly timed parry. His eyes spin rapidly. He charges forward and orders the attack, driving the blade forward with full force. Bone fragments scatter from the impact, the enemy reduced to rubble. He absorbs the remains of the defeated creature, gaining more strength and soul power. Satisfied, he acknowledges that even with the system's bonus increasing by 10%, Lullaby truly is a divine skill. More monstrous creatures approach in the distance, advancing toward him. He dodges the attack with agility. Then he charges forward and destroys the skeletons. With every victory, more gains accumulate, strength and soul power continuously increasing with each absorption. He looks around and wonders if there is still an entire legion of undead nearby, then he decides so be it. He roars, challenging all of them to come at him at once. The roar echoes powerfully across the battlefield, activating Battle Cry, a shout capable of inspiring fervor and temporarily increasing the three basic attributes: strength, constitution, and agility, while an entire wave of skeletal warriors charges behind him, strengthened by the same effect and ready for battle. With every strike, the gains accumulate, more strength, more soul power. He roars again, declaring that he can still become stronger. The gains repeat in rapid succession, one enemy after another falling before him. Suddenly, something catches his attention in the distance, amid a field covered with scattered bones and debris. His eyes widen, unable to understand what he is seeing. Before him appears a colossal winged figure, a bone angel, its wings stretching out and overshadowing everything around it. Tiny compared to the creature, Fang Zhou incredulously murmurs, asking if some kind of boss just appeared out of nowhere in the beginner area. The creature raises its gigantic sword above its head and brings it down with a thunderous blow powerful enough to shake the entire ground around them. Barely managing to steady himself, Fang Zhou thinks that if that attack hits him, he will definitely die. Determined, he concludes that since defending himself against something of that size is useless, his only option is to take the initiative and attack first. He unleashes Battle Cry, his attributes skyrocketing instantly. Without losing momentum, he chains it into a bone spear strike, combining the attack with armor-breaking style. Then he lands a precise phantom strike, and finishes with arm destruction style, a series of lightning-fast blows repeatedly striking the creature's gigantic arm. Having little effect, he retreats. The monster strikes with brutal determination, catching Fang Zhou completely off guard. As the blow is about to land, he has no time to react at such a distance. The impact sends him flying backward, tearing a cry of pain from him. The bone angel slowly advances toward him, and Fang Zhou, still recovering, thinks that luckily he managed to destroy one of the creature's arms beforehand. Otherwise, that blow would have been enough to completely shatter his bones. But he adds there is still one important detail. Looking closely at the creature's chest, he notices a small, glowing blue core exposed between its ribs. He recognizes with satisfaction that the creature's weak point has also been revealed. Intrigued, he wonders what the bone angel is planning as it raises its remaining claw in such a strange manner. Suddenly, the creature begins spinning at incredible speed, surrounded by a hurricane of green energy. He exclaims in alarm, asking if it really started spinning like that. Reacting to the danger, Fang Zhou mutters that this is very bad. Surrounded by a golden halo, the bone angel spins like a gigantic saw, unleashing the full force of its centrifugal momentum. Fang Zhou quickly analyzes the situation. The creature is using its rotation to compensate for the strength lost from its destroyed arm, intending to devastate the entire mountain in one go, and even worse, while spinning, he can no longer aim at the exposed weak point. Realizing that the attack is targeting him again, he wonders, unable to understand where that skeleton gets such an overwhelming will to fight. He flees into a narrow ravine, only to find himself facing a dead end, cursing his bad luck. Cornered, he grits his teeth and decides that he has no choice but to risk everything. He prepares himself completely, all of his equipment glowing with an intense blue light. The spinning blade approaches, the sheer wind from the attack already powerful enough to tear flesh and crush bones, but he remains focused, watching every detail of its movement. Amid the vortex, he finally spots an opening. He charges forward in an explosive burst of speed, aiming directly at the exposed weak point. With a roar, he delivers the final strike with all the strength he has left. Standing atop the defeated creature, Fang Zhou taunts the fallen bone angel. Despite its enormous body, its bones are far too fragile. It should go home and drink some calcium. The soulfire core is completely exposed in its chest, glowing intensely. Fang Zhou immediately recognizes the opportunity and shouts that this is the right moment, launching the bone spear directly at the exposed core. The creature reacts in panic, still alive. It deflects the attack with a defensive strike from its own wing, narrowly avoiding the blow. Beating its wings forcefully, the bone angel rises into the air, escaping upward. Down below, spear raised, Fang Zhou mutters that he knew it. There was no way those wings were just for decoration. In the air, surrounded by growing golden energy, the creature reveals its true intention. Unfazed, Fang Zhou declares that his system is not just for decoration either. Three symbols appear around him: a spider web, a spinning atom, and a moving skeletal figure, as he fuses and deduces a new skill from spider web spell combined with bone armament. The result appears before him: skill deduction successful, bone prison. The description reveals: Apprentice level, proficient, condenses undead magical energy to form solid bone restraints that bind the enemy, hindering its movement and ability to fight, with the binding strength, duration, and range depending on the spirit attribute and proficiency level. Satisfied, he comments that it is exactly as he expected, explaining that skill deduction can fuse properties from skills of other classes, transforming them into even more powerful undead skills. He points his finger toward the fleeing creature, lightning crackling, and taunts it, asking if it likes flying that much. The bone angel panics as bone chains explode around it, completely binding its body, bone prison taking effect. With chains extending from his own hands, Fang Zhou orders it to fall. He pulls the chains with all his strength, shouting for it to go straight to the ground. The creature plummets, still trying to resist. Fang Zhou advises it not to resist. He warns that the more it resists, the more excited he becomes, his weapon pulsing with dark energy, a sinister smile forming on his face. A final, devastating beam of light pierces straight through the creature from top to bottom. Standing over the defeated body of the bone angel, Fang Zhou identifies the last remaining blue flame as the creature's soul fire. Without hesitation, he extends his hand and absorbs it all at once. An explosion of energy surrounds him, soul power plus 100. But he frowns in confusion, unable to understand why, despite gaining so much soul power, his body has not grown at all. The system explains, all 4 attributes have already reached the limit of his bloodline and he can consume soul power to begin a bloodline evolution. He finally understands, he has already reached the limit of his own bloodline, no wonder his attributes stopped increasing. Contemplating the desolate landscape around him, he wonders what exists beyond that red sky and murmurs that he wants to find out for himself. The system appears before him, current bloodline skeleton apprentice rank. Available evolution path, skeleton warrior black iron rank, estimated cost 100 soul power points. It asks whether he wants to begin the evolution with the options yes or no. Without hesitation he confirms. An intense transformation begins to take over his body, a blue core pulsing in his chest. He declares with determination that his path of evolution is officially beginning now. The screen darkens, displaying only the warning, Skeleton Fang Zhou Bloodline Evolution in Progress. A phrase echoes through the void, the path of death is the path of slaughter. The path of slaughter is the path of evolution. He grits his teeth, waiting for the evolution. Finally, the transformation is complete, evolution into Skeleton Warrior successful. His attributes skyrocket all at once, strength plus 30, constitution plus 30, agility plus 30, spirit plus 30. Curious, he wonders whether the evolved version also comes with an additional talent. The confirmation arrives, evolution successful, Skeleton King bloodline talent unlocked. The description appears, Skeleton King, apprentice rank, innate level, a blessing granted by the will of the world of the dead to the strongest, reserved only for the most powerful members of the skeletal bloodline. It slightly increases damage dealt against skeletons and creatures evolved from them, while also slightly reducing damage received from those same creatures. He explains to himself as a small skeleton approaches curiously that it is a special bonus specifically designed for skeletons, which will allow him to defeat creatures from the world of the dead even faster. To test the effect, he allows himself to be hit by a skeleton that attacked him from behind. Satisfied, he confirms that the damage he received has already decreased. From now on, he will not even need to defend himself against low-level skeleton. Curious, he wonders if bone armament can also be upgraded. The system confirms lineage evolution talent ascension. A new bone armament is available. It asks whether he wishes to perform the upgrade with the options yes or no. The upgrade is completed, bone armor unlocked. The armor completely merges with his body, transforming his appearance with even more imposing plates. The description appears, bone armor, common white quality, and armor formed from bone essence that slightly increases physical defense. Satisfied, he feels that his power has grown tremendously. His blue eyes glow in the darkness, accompanied by a confident and threatening smile. Facing a frightened little skeleton, Fang Zhou apologizes, warning that he will need to use it to test his new abilities. The creature lets out a high-pitched scream of pure terror. He advances with a slashing strike, almost curiously commenting on whether that scream means that the time is also being counted. The little skeleton reacts to the pain, clutching its own head, its eyes blinking green. Still confused, it repeats the scream, not understanding what is happening. An overwhelming impact explodes through the air, completely destroying its body. Calm amid the destruction, Fang Zhou apologizes, sarcastically saying that he only let a little of the wind from his fist slip out for a moment. After merging with bone armor, the damage dealt to skeletons increased significantly. A small notification appears, strength plus 0.11, soul power plus 0.55, but he frustratedly realizes that killing weak monsters there no longer increases his level. Looking at the vast surroundings beneath the red moon, he concludes that he needs to advance into deeper regions of the world of the dead. His eyes suddenly shine with alertness at something unexpected. Sitting in a lotus position, holding his head with both hands, he grumbles irritably that the fight against the boss took far too long. Back in the real world, Fang Zhou suddenly awakens, blood running down his face, gasping for breath and screaming in pain. Bai Xiaochen rushes over to support him, alarmed, asking if he is alright since he just injured himself during meditation. Internally, he reflects that he was injured while fighting the boss moments earlier and concludes that he cannot continue being so reckless from now on. He brushes it off, saying that he is fine and only had some problems during meditation. She begins to insist, worried, but A voice calls out to him from across the room. He turns around curiously. Yifan advances with determination and declares that the skeleton's Fang Zhou summons can no longer contain him. He leaps into the air, his fists surrounded by green energy, shouting for Fang Zhou to face him honestly head-on. Without hesitation, Fang Zhou raises his hand and activates Bone Prison. Hanging from the chains, Yifan screams, unable to understand what happened. He protests, saying that it is not fair since Fang Zhou used an ability he had never seen before, and insists that they fight again. Fang Zhou calmly replies that next time, he should come looking for him after earning enough contribution points. Surrounding classmates comment curiously that they have never seen that Bone Prison ability before, speculating whether it is yet another skill created by Fang Zhou himself, while Yifan, still hanging there, shouts at them to stop watching and hurry up and untie him. Watching the scene, Bai Xiaochen murmurs to herself curiously, wondering just how far Fang Zhou's strength has already reached. The scene changes to the school's stairway. He checks his phone and comments that Friday arrived far too quickly. He reflects that, ever since awakening his powers, he has been so busy becoming stronger that it has been a long time since he visited home. He arrives in front of a building identified as the Resource Exchange Department. Inside, an employee asks if he needs any assistance. Fang Zhou asks her to convert 10 contribution points into 100,000 Xia Dragon coins. She curiously asks whether it is not a waste to exchange such difficult-to-earn contribution points for money. Fang Zhou replies that it is fine and that he needs the money right now. She agrees and hands him a briefcase, telling him that he can come back to her for future exchanges. He thanks her. With the briefcase in hand, he reflects that with that amount of money, their situation should improve a little. He arrives at a place called Cloud Orphanage, a peaceful garden where children play freely while a caretaker watches them closely, warning them not to fall. A brown-haired woman comments with a smile that those children are really full of energy, wondering how many of them will be able to awaken their powers in the future. A little girl runs toward her, calling her sister Ruru. Fang Zhou approaches, a briefcase in one hand and a bag of groceries in the other, and someone excitedly shouts his name. He confirms that yes, he is back. The children run toward him, eagerly asking if he brought anything delicious. Ruru scolds them, calling them greedy little things since brother Fang Zhou has just arrived and all they can think about is food, while a little boy in the background shyly mutters, hoping no one notices him hiding food for himself, and she assures them that there is enough for everyone. More seriously, Ruru approaches and quietly asks if he heard that the school conducted the awakening test, wanting to know what his result was. Fang Zhou tells her that he succeeded, he is now a necromancer. She smiles with relief, saying that it is wonderful and that the most important thing is that he successfully awakened. A little boy nearby overhears everything and excitedly exclaims that being a necromancer sounds really cool and that he also wants to summon a skeleton someday. Fang Zhou raises his hand, and 2 small skeletons appear in front of the children, creating a miniature version of the summoning. The boys cheer excitedly, calling their friends over to play together, finding the little skeletons small and fun, competing with each other to hold their skulls. Fang Zhou hands the briefcase to Ruru, explaining that it is for the orphanage director. She curiously asks what it is. A sarcastic voice interrupts the moment, commenting that the scene is far too touching. Fang Zhou turns around, alert. A muscular, tattooed man with gold chains around his neck approaches with heavy steps, asking with a crooked smile whether his arrival is interrupting their private moment. Farther behind him, an entire group of thugs appears at the orphanage entrance. Fang asks who those people are. Ruru steps forward and confronts the man, demanding to know what he is doing there, reminding him that they had already agreed to pay in a few days. Fang Zhou mutters that they do not look friendly at all. The group's leader forcefully shoves her, growling that she dares delay the payment owed to the Tiger Claw gang. He declares that this is the final deadline and warns that if they do not pay for the orphanage's land, which was given as collateral, it will belong to the Tiger Claw gang. Little Xingxing runs toward her in concern, calling her name, while the man lets out a threatening laugh. He shouts that the world's biggest troublemaker has arrived and continues taunting them, but the brave little girl confronts him, screaming at him not to dare mistreat Ruru. Without hesitation, he moves to kick her, cursing her and telling her to get out of there. Ruru screams the girl's name in desperation. But before the kick can hit her, a skeletal figure appears and intercepts it, grabbing the bully's foot. The man freezes, demanding to know what the hell that thing is. Fang Zhou steps forward, dark and imposing, warning them that they had better apologize or face the consequences, placing a protective hand on Xingxing's head as she looks at him in relief, calling his name. One of the thugs hurriedly whispers to the leader that the boy is a necromancer. Intrigued, the boss repeats the word curiously. Releasing his own class power, the man reveals himself as Liu Hu, the ghost-faced martial artist, surrounded by crackling orange flames, mocking that a trash necromancer like him does not have what it takes to play the hero. Fang Zhou narrows his eyes, recognizing that the man is also a class holder. He directly asks who exactly those people are. She explains that they are from the Tiger Claw Training Equipment Company and reveals, annoyed, that the children at the orphanage are at the perfect age to use their training equipment. She explains that she and the director took out a loan to purchase the training equipment in advance so they would not delay the children's training. With a dark expression, she reveals that on the surface, those men are merely merchants who sell training equipment for class holders, but in reality, they run a shady loan sharking operation. She finishes tensely, saying that with the interest piling up, the orphanage does not have nearly enough money to pay the debt. Alarmed, Feng Zhou asks why she did not tell him about this earlier. Back at the confrontation, Liu Hu tells the boy to mind his own business, warning that 100,000 Xia dragon coins is not something he can afford to spend. Feng Zhou throws the briefcase toward him and declares, "Here are 100,000 Xia dragon coins, now get lost." Liu Hu opens the compartment, his eyes lighting up at the sight of the gleaming money, and comments to one of his thugs that it really is 100,000. The thug hesitates suspiciously, muttering that the money seems to be. Furious, Liu Hu shouts at him to shut up, angrily throwing the briefcase away. He explains threateningly that his boss ordered him to secure the orphanage's land, and compared to that, 100,000 means nothing. He tells the boy that he does not care about that petty amount of money at all, and announces that since they have delayed their payments for so long, the interest has accumulated and they now owe 500,000 Xia dragon coins. Shocked, Ru repeats the amount in disbelief. With a crooked smile, Feng Zhou comments that it seems they really came there just looking for a fight. Liu Hu roars back defiantly, asking what is wrong with that, questioning whether a bunch of bastards like them really deserves to occupy such valuable land. He orders his men to attack, declaring that the Tiger Claw gang will take that land today. The thugs smile, eager for a fight. Unfazed, Feng Zhou comments that trying to outnumber him with a bunch of thugs is a joke and activates his skeleton summoning. The blonde thug smoking a cigarette freezes in shock. An entire squad of skeletons with glowing eyes materializes behind Feng Zhou and he orders them all to kneel and apologize. He warns them, otherwise they will face the consequences. Breaking into a cold sweat, the blonde thug exhales a puff of smoke, staring closely at one of the skeletons. Advancing toward a skeleton, Liu Hu asks why everyone is so afraid necromancers are the weakest class holders in existence, boasting that even an ordinary person could easily destroy the skeletons summoned by a mere student, while the thug mutters that the boss really is a beast. On the other side of the garden, the thugs begin driving the children away while shouting, ordering them to throw all those brats outside, yelling at them to get out of the way, while one of them mocks them, asking whether unwanted brats like them really dream of becoming class holders someday. Xingxing cries in terror, desperately begging someone to save her. Furious at the scene, Feng Zhou declares that they are asking for it and orders his skeletons to spread out and engage in combat. The blonde leader laughs mockingly, saying that they really thought a bunch of bags of bones could stop them, and orders his men to show them what they are made of. A thug charges forward with a spiked club, shouting for the creature to die. Up close, the skeleton's eye glows blue, remaining unfazed by the blow it receives. The creature retaliates with a sweeping slash, catching the thug completely off guard. The skeletal hand crushes the man's hand, causing him to scream in pain, unable to believe that the creature's strength is anything but normal. Watching from a distance beside Ru and seeing Feng Zhou approach, Liu Hu mutters curiously that the boy looks like an ordinary student, so why are the skeletons he summons so strong? Determined, Liu Hu personally enters the fight, declaring that no matter what happens, an insignificant necromancer is no match for him, and unleashes his own ability, Bone-Shattering Strike. Ru screams desperately for Feng Zhou to dodge. Reacting just in time, he raises a bone shield, precisely blocking the attack. Stunned, Liu Hu cannot believe that the attack was actually blocked. Without wasting time, Feng Zhou counters with Bone Prison, chains exploding through the air and trapping Liu Hu in midair, causing him to scream in confusion and ask what that is. The chains hurl him with full force into the ground in a violent explosion. Liu Hu coughs, stunned by the impact. Furious, he screams that the brat will pay dearly, swearing that he will kill him. Behind Liu Hu, two skeletons wielding chainsaws appear, pressing their weapons against the bully's neck. Silhouetted against the scene, Feng Zhou orders Liu Hu to kneel and apologize or die. Sweating, Liu Hu stammers, unable to form a single word. Standing over him, Feng Zhou remains imposing as Liu Hu, finally defeated, admits that he was wrong. A tense silence settles among the thugs, with none of them daring to say another word. Surrounded by the guardian skeletons, the entire group bows down, begging for forgiveness in unison. Coldly, Feng Zhou orders them to take the money and get out of his sight. Humiliated, Liu Hu silently grits his teeth, sweating coldly. The group hurriedly flees down the road, with the boss shouting for everyone to run. As they retreat, the blonde thug asks if they are really going to let this go. Irritated, Liu Hu snaps back, asking what exactly he expects them to do. Can he defeat that boy himself? Seeking revenge, Liu Hu decides that they will wait for the boy to leave and then ambush him. Back at the orphanage, Ru asks Feng Zhou, impressed, how he became so strong. He replies with a confident smile that perhaps the class he awakened is just a little too strong. The children surround him excitedly, calling him a hero for having defeated all the villains and driven them away in the blink of an eye. He pats one of them on the head, telling them to train hard so they can become as strong as him someday. The children eagerly agree. Feng Zhou asks Ru to take him to see Grandma Yun. She agrees. As they walk through the garden, he asks if Grandma Yun's health has gotten worse again. Ru explains that she is already very old and has always suffered from some illnesses. She adds that Grandma Yun pushed herself too hard when she was young, raising all of them, and that it is not easy to cure the root of that illness. She comments that seeing how successful he has become now, Grandma Yun will surely be very happy. When he enters the room, the elderly woman looks up in surprise, asking if Feng Zhou has returned. He tells her that things are going very well for him at Heicheng Academy. He adds that he came during the break to see how she and the children are doing. She affectionately replies that the fact he came back is already enough, wondering why he brought so many things with him. Ruru interrupts, telling Grandma Yun that Fang Zhou has grown up and just helped pay off the orphanage's debts with the training equipment. Grandma Yun exclaims in shock, unable to believe it. Worried, she directly asks how he, while still a student, managed to pay off the orphanage's entire debt, hoping he did not borrow the money. He reassures her, placing his hand near her, assuring her that she can rest easy. He earned the money through his own efforts. He explains that he has an extremely generous classmate and simply by being his training partner, he can earn a lot of contribution points. Grandma Yun coughs weakly, saying that Fang Zhou has become an awakened and will surely have a great future ahead of him. Concerned, he asks if she is all right. She gently nods, saying it is just her usual illness and that she will rest for a while and be fine. Grandma Yun adds seriously that instead of worrying about her, he should pay more attention to the upcoming midterm exam. Curious, he asks how she knew the exam was approaching. She laughs, saying he has forgotten his kind older sister went through those years just like this. He reflects the memory appearing amid the flames. His sister Wenjiu is a few years older than him, has already graduated, and is now on the front lines of the battlefield. Grandma Yun tells him to get plenty of rest at home before the exam, confident that his grades will be even better than Wenjiu's were back then. Excited, he promises that he will. Once outside the room, Fang Zhou gives Ruru 20 contribution points. She raises her hands, refusing them, asking how that could be possible since that is far more than necessary. He explains that he does not usually come back there often and those contribution points are all he can help with for now. Embarrassed, she eventually accepts. She takes him to a room, mentioning that coincidentally Wenju's room is empty so he can stay there for now. He agrees. She tells him that if he feels like eating anything specific, he only needs to let her know. He replies that there is no need to worry as he can take care of himself. Standing in the room, he remains silent, staring at a picture frame. He picks up the picture frame and comments that this was the room where his sister Wenju used to live, wondering how she is doing on the front lines. He puts the picture frame back, deciding to put it aside. The frontline battlefield is still far beyond his current reality. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, surrounded by crackling green energy, he reflects that the midterm exam and getting good grades are the only ways he can truly help Grandma Yun and the others. He commands, "System, enter the world of the dead." He then returns to the world of the dead. He comments that the undead monsters on the outskirts of that wasteland no longer provide any increase in level. He wonders what kind of monsters he will face as he ventures deeper. New enemies appear before him. A group of armed skeletal warriors, a hooded archer and another carrying a sword and shield, both wrapped in worn-out cloaks and growling among themselves. Observing them closely, he notices that their equipment seems a little stronger, but everything else remains exactly the same as before. The skeletons advance. Fang defends himself with his staff. Assessing the situation, he comments that the undead monsters deep within the wasteland do not seem as strong as he had imagined. Suddenly, he sees an arrow flying toward him. He dodges and observes carefully. "I see. It seems their intelligence has increased a little, and they have learned to cooperate with each other." Determined, he declares that he will eliminate the ranged attacker first. Fang attacks him and wonders how he got so close. Could he be the Flash? Fang Zhou notices another important detail. It is not only their intelligence that has increased, they have also learned to use abilities. One of the warriors raises his shield, which begins glowing green as he prepares for the impact. The collision echoes, but the shield withstands the first blow. Without hesitation, he unleashes a phantom strike, piercing straight through the defense. The gains appear: Constitution plus 0.3, Soul Power plus 0.3. A barrage of arrows repeatedly strikes the shield without stopping. He throws the bone spear, hitting the archer head-on. One final explosive strike consumes the creature and he absorbs the residual blue flame. More gains: Agility plus 0.3, Soul Power plus 0.3. Breathing heavily, he sighs in relief, realizing that the depths of the wasteland in the world of the dead are more dangerous than he had ever imagined. 1 week later, back in the undead wasteland, 3 enormous magic circles, one pink, one purple, and one green, open in the red sky, with blue energy crackling across the entire landscape. Completely surrounded by a dark aura, a skeletal mage rises, a dark hood covering its head, a glowing skull staff raised high with streams of green and blue energy swirling around it. It launches magical attacks at Fang, who blocks everything with his staff. One attack narrowly misses him. Spotting a hooded enemy standing in front of him, he charges forward in an explosive leap. His eyes track the target at high speed. The afterimage strike takes effect. He collides with the opponent in an explosion of green crystal fragments, with the gains appearing immediately afterward. Constitution plus 0.3, Soul Power plus 0.3. Watching the scene coldly, he recognizes that those bags of bones are becoming more ridiculous by the minute. Now they even have a squad of 4 working together. A muscular, armored skeletal warrior charges forward with its claws exposed, roaring. The weapons clash in a succession of blows, sparks flying in every direction. Through gritted teeth, he acknowledges that its strength is far too great. There is no chance to counterattack. Alarmed, he realizes in panic that the others have also broken free from the restraints. A shadowy figure wielding a blade appears nearby. Reacting instantly, he activates bone armor, plates of bone rapidly forming over his body amid orange explosions. He warns himself that if this continues, even bone armor will not be able to withstand it for much longer. With no other choice, he unleashes his final move, Meat Shield Charge. With a strike from the bone shield, he sends the enemy flying, creating a shockwave that shakes the battlefield. Still holding the spear, he thinks that he now needs an ability with greater power to break through his opponent's defenses. He calls the system and asks it to enhance Bone Spear. The system detects enough material to upgrade the ability at an estimated cost of 10 soul power. He accepts and the enhancement is completed. Bone Spear has been upgraded. The new version of the ability condenses a bone spear to throw at enemies, dealing piercing physical damage, corrosive poison damage, and death energy damage. The quantity, power, and range depend on the spirit attribute and the ability's proficiency. He watches the opponent with the spear in his hands. He shouts for them to advance and throws the spear. The attack hits the targets with all 3 types of damage simultaneously: physical, corrosive, and poisonous, eliminating the remaining enemies. Fang remains standing amid the bluish lightning still crackling around him. The battle finally ends. An evolution notification appears. Constitution and soul power each increase by 0.5, agility and soul power increase by 0.3 each, and strength and soul power increase by another 0.3. His complete attributes are displayed: Bone Warrior, low black iron rank with strength, constitution, and agility at 32, spirit at 30, equipped with a bone spear and bone armor of white common quality. His abilities include Bone Monarch and skeleton armament at black iron instinct level, brutal strike already mastered, charge and weapon mastery mastered, parry and war cry at proficient level, with a total soul power of 20. From atop a giant skull, the clone observes the devastated territory and notices that the undead deep within the wild territory are much stronger, which has significantly slowed down his training pace. He puts a hand to his head and sighs in relief, saying that it was about time. The scene cuts back to the real world, where Fang Zhou runs a hand through his hair. He activates the command, Open Status panel. His real status is revealed: Necromancer, intermediate apprentice rank, strength, agility, and constitution at 3.9, spirit at 6 in the split soul state. His equipment is the Apprentice Mage set hat, necklace, and 2 rings. His recorded abilities include Bone Monarch Meditation Method and Summon Skeletons, both mastered, Bone Spear and Bone Shield mastered, and Bone Shackles dominate skeletons and Serenity at proficient level. He accepts the system's proposal, which detects that the Bone Monarch ability, already mastered in its Bone Warrior form, has reached the instinct level and can serve as material to deduce an unknown ability in his main body, at an estimated cost of 10 soul power. The deduction succeeds. The Dominate Skeleton's ability is created, apprentice rank, and proficient level, slightly increasing the base attributes of skeleton type undead under his command, with the effect scaling according to his spirit and proficiency. Fang Zhou reflects that, until now, his abilities had only been bone type and summoning type. With this new acquisition, his summoning techniques will receive a massive boost. Ru enters the room and calls him by his nickname, Xiaozhu, reminding him that today is the day of the midterm exam and asking him not to be late. He replies that he is already prepared. Sitting on the bed, Fang Zhou declares that this time he will get good grades and earn more contribution points to help the orphanage. Ru laughs and says he is silly as long as he takes good care of himself, that alone would make her and the director happy. As he leaves, the children wave and shout a chorus of goodbyes to brother Zhou, asking him to bring more delicious food next time. He waves back and promises that he will. Already out on the street walking along, Fang Zhou thinks that first place in this exam has to be his. Hidden behind some rocks, Liu Hu watches him leave. He mutters that the boy has finally appeared. On the school grounds, the students organize themselves into lines in front of 2 holographic panels displaying the rules and reward system of the simulated battlefield. One of them comments that simply completing the test earns extra contribution points, while another adds that the top 10 contestants will also receive additional rewards. A third can barely contain his excitement to begin. In the stands, a blonde student watches the commotion and says that he is only there to watch the freshmen fight among themselves over contribution points. His hooded companion agrees, noting that none of the newcomers has even reached the intermediate apprentice level. The bearded instructor Liu Hu smiles and warns them not to underestimate this year's new students. The blonde student reacts in surprise. Elsewhere on the field, Yifan furiously plays on his phone, cursing because he cannot even win a single game against Fang Zhou. Nearby, someone comments about him, saying that this freshman has already mastered at least 4 abilities. Beside him, Bai Xiaochen watches with her arms crossed while Yifan complains that his rival still has not shown up. She retorts that even if he did appear, he would have no chance of winning. Fang Zhou approaches. Yifan lets out an irritated grunt while Bai Xiaochen excitedly waves, calling him over to join them. Yifan challenges him to a competition, see who can be the first to clear the simulated battlefield. Fang Zhou responds indifferently. In his thoughts, Yifan claims that he went through hellish training throughout the week and mastered more powerful abilities, guaranteeing that this time he will defeat Fang Zhou in the exam. Bai Xiaochen, unimpressed, teases him that he always says that and suggests raising the stakes. Whoever loses has to parade around naked while doing a handstand. Yifan retorts that he can parade around naked right there, but questions why he would also need to do a handstand. She is left speechless, only grumbling in response. From a distance, Su Xinyan watches the scene. She asks if that is the necromancer genius. He is very interesting. Well, that's it for today. If you made it this far, comment necromancer. And of course, subscribe and leave a like. See you in the next video.